Hey everybody, I just had two conversations with two different folks that I'm working with in the last 24 hours, and they are telling me about how they're making like literally thousands of dollars more after listening to my advice. And they're both self-employed, and so I wanted to share this with you because, like, man, I get so mad about this. So as a self-employed person, I know I did anyways, I don't fit in the world as it is. I don't like having a job. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being paid hourly. I want to make more money and I want to do things my own way. So I start my own business, and a lot of people do this, and that's cool and everything, but then they're broke. They're struggling. Checks are bouncing. Credit card transactions are getting declined. Debit card getting declined at the grocery store. This is madness, people. Why is this happening? Okay, I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why. So first of all, a lot of people are afraid to charge what they're worth. So what they do is they end up charging some like safe price that they think people will go for, and people do go for it, but it doesn't cover your costs. So you're undercharging, and when you're undercharging, that means that you get stuck in this famine cycle where you're just like constantly making barely enough money to get by, and people get scared and they won't raise their prices. So this is one of the reasons that people are broke when they're self-employed, is because they're not charging enough. And one of the reasons they're afraid to charge more is like the whole fear thing, like, oh, what if people say no, and what if I don't get any money coming in, and what if my clients leave me, and what if my business falls over and I end up homeless under the bridge, right? Like, all that fear stuff definitely comes into play, especially if you're a person in recovery. Another reason that this happens, though, is because you're not clear on your value. A lot of people think they're like, oh, I just do this one thing. So for example, I have a person that I work with, and they provide a plan. Now this plan is super detailed. There's like whatever pages and pages and pages of stuff on this plan, and it will help you do all these things and whatever. And I was like, you can't look at it like it's just like a piece of paper that you're selling. You got to look at the benefits, right? So in the plan, what you get will save you like $800, right? So like this plan is now worth something around the neighborhood of $800. So it's like looking at it from the perspective of the value that you bring to your customer. And that is where people get stuck and they get hung up. And you know what? Because they're not in sales and marketing. And that makes total sense. Because you know what? I'm not in the business of like painting ceilings or fixing cars or anything like that. So like, I don't know how to do that shit. But like, if you are self-employed, like, you have to get clear on the value, and you have to be able to articulate it. And then you can convince people as to why they should pay you more than what you have been charging previously, which has been keeping you stuck on craft dinner and like in debt and like up late at night stressed out about like why you can't make any money. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is not being clear on profits versus sales. So you can make money, and that's part of it, right? Like, you have to be able to make money and sell things and have people say yes, and have them give you like checks or credit cards or whatever the case is. But you also have to make sure that you're aware of how much the costs are associated with whatever it is that you're selling. So if you're selling something that's going to cost you like $500 worth of your time and energy and like hard costs to be able to deliver, then you better be pricing it at least $1,000, like at least, right? So not knowing what your hard costs are, and hard costs, by the way, you want to have as low as possible. So hard costs are things that, basic, easiest way I can define it is that things you have to pay no matter how much money you make. So things like rent, your cell phone bill, internet bill, etc., etc. They're called fixed costs also. You want to make sure that those are as low as possible. And then your costs of goods sold are things that, expenses that you have that are related to whatever it is that you're selling. So you need to know the difference between these two things, and you need to make sure that they're both as low as possible. And if you don't know what those things are, and you don't know how much money is coming in and how much is going out and when and where and all kinds of things, then that is something that you desperately need to fix, because it is not okay. It's one of the reasons that you're broke and struggling, because you don't know what's going on with your money, right? So these are some of the things that I see in terms of problems that self-employed people have, why they're still broke and struggling. Another thing is relying on willpower. So a lot of people get scared to increase their prices or to negotiate around pricing. And I understand that. We talked about why it can be scary. You don't want your business to collapse. You don't want clients to leave, all these things. So quit relying on willpower about it. You know, like, willpower is, everybody thinks it's like this like resource that's like tireless, you know, but that's a lie. Like, we only have so much willpower. It's unreliable. If you haven't had enough sleep, or you got in a fight with your partner, or you like your blood sugar's low, your willpower is going to be in the toilet, and you're not going to be able to rely on yourself to price things appropriately. So like, don't make yourself do that hard shit, you know? What you gotta do is set up a system or an architecture or an infrastructure to say what your prices are for you. So when you're feeling weak and tired and like scared, you don't have to negotiate with people. You can be like, go to my website, my prices are there, or like, here is this PDF and here are my prices. So like making things easier for your future self is like a really good idea. And then you have the discomfort of creating your price structure one time, and then you just put it out there. So you don't have to do it every single time. So relying on willpower is like, you don't want to do that, man. Especially, like I said, if you are self-employed and you're in recovery, you likely deal with like a lot of fear and a lot of self-doubt. And like, you know, it's a journey to be able to increase our self-esteem and to be able to feel like we're worth more than we were when we were like making bad decisions and things like that. So you want to like honor that part and like make it really easy for your future self to not have to have these hard discussions all the time, right? And so if you've done the work up front of like understanding your value, of being able to articulate the benefits of what your target audience like seeks to get from you, and to like put your price at something that you know, because you've looked at your costs, a price that you know is like livable, that is like not going to put you in the poorhouse, that's actually going to cover your bills and maybe even give you some money for like lattes and a time off and like, I don't know, whatever it is you want to spend your money on, then, you know, then all that work up front will be so worth it when you're having those day-to-day conversations about pricing. So understanding your costs, understanding the difference between hard costs and cost of goods sold, understanding the difference between profit and sales, understanding that your willpower will fail you and you shouldn't rely on it, and understanding that you need to do the work to establish the value of what it is that you offer in order to go from struggling and broke and having inconsistent income. I see so many people and they go from like feast to famine, you know, it's like depends on how much project work they have. I have this template that I provide in the Rising Tide, which is my six-month long group mentorship program. Doors are open right now. I will post the link below if you are interested at all in registering for that. It's some of the best money that you can spend. But you get this cash flow statement template, which I will give you and I'll teach you how to use. And basically it'll show you how to stabilize and make your income consistent across every single week, every single month of your business. So you don't have to go, oh, this week I'm broke. Oh, this week I'm rich. Oh, this week I'm broke. This week I'm rich. Because we don't want that. That's silly. That's a silly way to live. It's way too stressful. We want to make sure being self-employed is enjoyable, it is impactful, it is satisfying, it gives you enough money to do what you need to do with your life, and ultimately it isn't going to cost you your health, right? Because what's the point? You might as well go get a job, right? You might as well go get a job. If you're going to be like upset and stressed and broke, like you might as well have benefits, you know? So anyway, I thought I would just jump on this call here because it's a huge problem that I see with self-employed people. It's so fucking common, excuse my language, but like honestly, it is so common for self-employed people to be broke and struggling and not necessarily know why. And these are the reasons why. So get your shit sorted. If you are looking for some guidance and support in this area, the Rising Tide Group Mentoring Program is a 6-month long group coaching program with yours truly, where you get support, advice, accountability, community training, etc. for stuff just like this. So that way you can go from broke and struggling to thriving in the business that you created. So if you are interested in that, I will post the link below as soon as I have parked here. If you have comments, questions about that, feedback for me, if you think I'm dead wrong, I want to hear all about your opinion. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a lovely Thursday, and enjoy your Easter as well, because I hear that's coming up. Okay, bye.